guys, I'm doing Monday Night Raw, March 2nd, 2015 review today. Now, I know I was a bit late, couple of days off, so what? I'm not missing much anyway. Bottom line, the truth is, it shouldn't have been called Monday Night Raw. It should have been called WWE Monday Night Boredom. Bottom line, this show was absolutely horrible. It was dreadful. I couldn't even stand watching this shit. I literally was spending most of my time screwing around with my cell phone, trying to look up something more entertaining than the crap I was watching. So, this review is going to be pretty harsh. I'm going to be more vocal than I have before on many of my other videos in the last 2 weeks that I've started this channel. And bottom line is, this episode was probably really horrible. There has been quite a few horrible episodes than this one, but this is the worst one since my channel has started. And I gotta be a little vocal about this. So starting off, I'm going to go ahead, this is how I'm doing the rundown of this. I'm going to do the matches first and then all the promos that were on the show, okay? There was a lot of good I have to admit, the promos were way better than the actual matches. It was a freaking joke. The bottom line is, this whole freaking event sucked. The only thing that was even meaningful, and even that was twisted and weirded out, is the main event between Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, but I'll get into that later on in this video. So, starting off here today, we go ahead and the first match on the show was Dean Ambrose versus Bad News Barrett. One-on-one. Dean Ambrose wins the match. It was an okay match. Wasn't that great. At least it had a finish in comparison to Fastlane. Too bad it didn't have a finish to Fastlane in their match between each other when the title actually mattered in that match. This whole thing with the Intercontinental Championship is a complete and utter joke. The reality of all of this is what they're doing, completely playing hot potato through this entire program that they're doing with this championship is utterly ridiculous. You're saying that your title's a hot potato that you pass around to everybody. And the weirdest thing about all of this is the title isn't even being officially changing. It's not even changing hands officially. Okay? This is ridiculous. It's worse than the Hardcore Championship on a 24/7 basis. At least they're winning the title and that same day that it was changing hands. Officially, it was changing hands. This is nothing. They're just stealing the belt and passing it around with each other like it's a freaking toy or something. It is like by far the most, disrespectful way to treat a championship that's had so much prestige for so many years. Yes, granted, the title did not mean you were the heavyweight champion. It did not give you main events as holding on to that championship. I grant you that. But at least the title meant something. At least when you won the championship, you went on and moved on to bigger and better things most of the time. Unless something happened in your run to being the best, okay? And being a heavyweight champion in WWE, okay? But the reality of this is this, okay? The title shouldn't be switching hot potato from one person to the next, and the title ain't even switching hands. It's being stolen. It's ridiculous. It's utterly retarded. Not to mention, where the fuck did R-Truth come in all of this? Like, where has he, how does this give him right to be involved in any kind of Intercontinental title run or an opportunity to even win the title? Let alone that, win the championship. I mean, this is utterly ridiculous. The man shouldn't even be touching that championship. He has not earned the opportunity or done anything spectacular to even be involved in this Intercontinental Championship ladder match for WrestleMania. And you damn well know he's going to be in the ladder match because he's been involved every single week. Not to mention, Where the hell did he even end up becoming this special guest commentator every week? Would somebody tell me that? Like, where does this shit make any sense? Like, come on. This is ridiculous. So you're switching the title from one person to the next. Match ends. R-Truth is running around with it. And then out of nowhere, I believe, off the top of my head, Bad News Barrett got the belt back finally, and then was knocked out by Luke Harper, I believe. I don't even remember. I wasn't even paying attention to half the shit because most of it was ridiculous. Okay, so so we go ahead and Luke Harper's walking away with the championship, walking up the stage. And then Dolph Ziggler comes out of nowhere and hits him in the face. Where the fuck did he come from? Like, he wasn't even there to begin with. But regardless, it was a very nice super kick by Dolph Ziggler. Very much like Shawn Michaels. Gotta give him credit. He's him and Daniel Bryan really deserve. One of those two deserve to hold on to this championship because they're gonna put more prestige back into that title. And they really should start making that title stay on somebody for a long period of time. Bad News Barrett, gotta give him credit. I really think what they're doing to him is really horrible. Because all he's doing is just losing on a consistent basis. It's putting him in a horrible outlook by the audience of what he's all about. He, to me, should be in World Championship run. That's where he should be at this point. He's had enough Intercontinental Championship runs. It's time to push him to the World Championship, or at least give him some world title matches. Right now, though, Roman Reigns is getting his little stunt for the championship, and I'll get more into that later. So, the next match. Oh, brother, this whole card was horrible. I couldn't even believe this shit. Naomi and the Usos versus Cesaro, Natalya, and Tyson Kidd. The Usos beat Natalya, Tyson Kidd, and Cesaro. Okay, the match sucked. It was 2 minutes long. It wasn't even that long. It was a joke. And it wasn't entertaining. The last couple of matches they've had that were entertaining, but every time they have the women involved from each of their tag team, it sucks. And it's real simple. The women's division sucks. They're not that great. They're not that good at all. The NXT female wrestlers, they're definitely good. When they move up, those women that are in the current main roster at this point, they're going to be dropping down. I mean, they're going to be out. I mean, they suck, really. And I'm not going to say they suck 100 gazillion times, but that's what they do. They just stink. They're horrible. There's nothing else to say. There's no talent behind this main roster for the women's division. There's a few good ones. The rest of them, they suck. Bottom line. There's nothing interesting about it. Alright? So, next match. The next match is John Cena versus Curtis Axel. And, I mean, before this whole extravaganza came about, John Cena was doing a promo, which I will get into after I'm done with the, review on the matches. John Cena destroyed Curtis Axel. Curtis Axel came out doing the Axelmania. What a complete joke. I mean, really fucking stupid. He's acting like he's in the Royal Rumble still. I mean, they're better off making Curtis Axel walk out in a straitjacket. I mean, this is utterly ridiculous. It's fucking stupid. Bottom line. It's just fucking dumb as shit. Reason why is, he's acting childish. He's coming out saying, I'm the longest man in the Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble's over, pal. It doesn't exist. It's done. You're finished. You lost. You weren't even in it. You didn't even enter the ring. So you're not in the Royal Rumble. You're in delusional world. That's where you are, pal. And please, come back to reality. I know it sucks for you because you're doing nothing in your career right now. You used to do something good in 2013, but that's destroyed now, and they made sure of that. And I understand that you are pissed off about that, if you really are. Curtis Axel, I don't even know what your ideas or opinion is at this point. Could give a shit less, because you're not doing anything spectacular. Maybe not your fault, entirely, but maybe it has something to do with you for the fact that where you are now. Anyway, the match was a one-sided beatdown. John Cena wins by tap out. Very easy. I mean, Curtis Axel got, beaten up to death. It was nothing. 2 minutes and 2 seconds. It was a joke. There was nothing extraordinarily exciting about this, and a very bland and dumb finish. Okay? So we have the Divas titles match. The Divas titles match was not that interesting, very dull, boring, not exciting, no big spots in this match in my opinion, and it just really kind of was a dud. Paige won by disqualification. It was, a 5-minute match kind of deal. So it wasn't too bad. I mean, it wasn't like last week, like being 30-second match. I mean, it was worth something. But it wasn't that much of a big deal because it ended up in DQ altogether. AJ Lee came out, saved the day by Paige, and I don't understand where they're going with these two. They hated each other at one time. Now all of a sudden Paige and her like each other again. I have no idea. They're doing this, ridiculous tag team match, which I think is dumb. I don't agree with the idea. I think it's a really bad idea what they're doing. I really think what they should go with is a Fatal 4-Way Divas title match at WrestleMania. It gives everybody an opportunity to make it a world championship match for the women's division. That's something that would be worthy to all four of those women. Not some stupid, dumb, idiotic tag team match between two divas, or two tag team divas. I mean, come on, man. What are you gonna do? I mean, like, Brie Bella's got to be the lackey for Nikki Bella? That's ridiculous. It's stupid. It's not it's really just a dumb move. It makes a women's match just a regular match. It's WrestleMania, which I'm going to get into. I'm also going to talk about that because the reality about this is really it doesn't feel like WrestleMania. It feels like just a regular, ordinary pay-per-view, but I'm going to explain more into detail why I feel like that's the case later on in this video. Okay? So, the next match after that is Daniel Bryan versus Luke Harper. Daniel Bryan beats him, Luke Harper. Decent match, not too bad. Nothing too crazy to cry home about. I really think that Daniel Bryan needs to be able to face some competition that's at the same height as him in weight. Because him facing taller guys, it limits his capability of being able to be, do more moves because of the fact that he's facing guys twice his size. So, I mean, guys like Luke Harper, Big Show, Kane, he can't do so much where he can display his talent. It's more like the same run-on moves and stuff, and people know for a fact, as being an audience to wrestling, they've seen what Daniel Bryan can do against really anybody that's the same height as him. I mean, they don't have to be like 5'10" like he is, but decent height, same weight, around 234, somewhere around there. Even Triple H's height, for that matter, he can do something with them. With these guys, these really super large guys like The Undertaker's height, he can't. He's very limited. It doesn't help him out whatsoever. So it really drags his match down, in my opinion. But again, it wasn't bad. It just could have been better if he had a better selected opponent. But they want to keep putting him against tall guys, and I don't know why. He has so much great talent that I would put him against guys like Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, guys like those. He could fight against and have a really good match and display a lot more talent. But with these large guys that are really over heavy weight, it's just not easy for him to be able to do those things. But moving on, the next match that we got here is Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns. Now this match was a good match. I mean, Roman Reigns, I don't care what anyone says about what their opinion of me is. I think that Roman Reigns is showing he has something to offer to be in the main event. I'm still not convinced, though, that he should be in the main event against Brock Lesnar. I mean, Brock Lesnar has got so much more wrestling talent than Roman Reigns. He knows so many different moves, and he is just a powerhouse on top of it. Roman Reigns, on the other hand, he's just, he's a bulky guy. He's believable as a tough dude. But he's not like, has the type of wrestling capabilities like Brock Lesnar. Now, again, same old thing. Daniel Bryan. Okay, Daniel Bryan has the same kind of wrestling capabilities that Brock Lesnar does, excuse me. But his height, the height is way different. And, I mean, granted, I still would have rather seen Daniel Bryan versus Brock Lesnar because of the fact that Daniel Bryan knows more moves than Roman Reigns. He can make a match more interesting than Roman Reigns can. That's the reason why Roman Reigns' match with Daniel Bryan was great. There's no doubt about it. This match, he went against another guy who knows how to do the same thing. Seth Rollins is a great wrestler. This guy has the talent to become something and move up within the company and be a believable main event character. There is no doubt about it. He made Roman Reigns look good. Has Roman Reigns improved? I have to say yes. To a certain extent, yes. I have seen some difference in his wrestling capabilities. When you put him against somebody that knows how to wrestle, he seems to demonstrate good wrestling capabilities. Okay? Big Show, he does not. Kane, he does not. He does the same stupid moves over and over and over again with the spear and the Superman punch. Now, granted, those are very cool moves in my opinion, but still, he needs to be able to do other things besides just those two moves. There has to be more to his repertoire to make these matches entertaining for him to be caught on as an acceptable character to the audience. They're not hating on Roman Reigns because he is not a character they can't get behind. Well, right now they can't get behind him mainly because of the fact that he doesn't have the greatest talking capabilities. He stutters when he talks. He messes up on some of the words that he says. His wrestling moves are repetitive. Same freaking thing over and over and over again in every single match. He needs to have a little bit of variety within his matches. I mean, yeah, have the typical Superman punch followed by a spear. I mean, every wrestler has a signature and a finisher. And he shouldn't have anything different with that. But he needs to be able to have different variety of moves added to his matches. That's what makes the audience respect him better and look at him and support him as a main eventer. Bottom line, that's where they need to go with this. So, here's the big kicker about this whole match. If you did watch Monday Night Raw and you said, oh, well, no big deal, it's just the build-up. No, what's happened at the end is, let me just tell you what happened at the end, and then I'll tell you my opinion about this. So Roman Reigns is trying to hit his finisher. He gets distracted by Randy Orton holding on to his leg so he couldn't run. and then got rolled up in a illegal pin by Seth Rollins holding onto his tights. Okay, his pants, whatever the hell you want to call them. Alright? And Seth Rollins wins the match. Decent match, horrible fucking ending. Why? Well, it would be okay if Randy Orton wasn't supposedly building a storyline to him and Seth Rollins. This whole build-up between Randy Orton and Seth Rollins is so dumb. It is ridiculous. Stick with the old formula. It works for this situation. Randy Orton went ahead. He got his ass kicked by the fucking Authority. Last week, he should have turned his back on those motherfuckers in that tag team match. I can understand him playing a head game with them in the first place, leading up to that tag team match last week, but he didn't turn on them. He just, shook, patted him on his shoulder and walked away. What the fuck? Then he's standing there, he's not even with the rest of the Authority. You definitely know for a fact he ain't even part of the group. They don't even want him, truthfully. They don't trust him. They know that... even the characters know that Randy Orton is going to play a trick on them. They don't really want him with them anyway. So what the fuck was the big deal? Why didn't they just pull the trigger on this bullshit between these two last week and start building up to WrestleMania and have their set-up match? What are they going to do? Wait till the last week, 6 days before WrestleMania 31, and then say, oh, this match is scheduled to happen? What kind of build-up is that? It's ridiculous. It's like freaking going ahead and having all this psychological bullshit and then saying to your audience they finally exploded, they don't have any, respect for each other, they're not part of a team anymore, and now they're going to have a match at the last second. Like, this entire time, they're fucking going ahead and believing that he's going to turn on them at some point down the road anyway. You can look in the character's eyes and tell that by just looking at the promos. It is so obvious. Okay, so I went ahead giving you guys the matches. Now I'm going to go ahead and give you guys the promos and then cut this thing short. And then just give you a little emphasis on my opinion about the build-up to WrestleMania 31, as I mentioned. So, promo-wise, just a couple off the top of my head, big important ones. Seth Rollins, in the beginning of the show, he's going ahead talking about, Jon Stewart coming to Monday Night Raw and saying that he's better than Michael Jordan, which I don't know where Michael Jordan comes into professional wrestling, but okay. Really dumb promo. I didn't like it. I thought it was really lame as shit. I don't know who fed him these lines to say for his promo, but whoever, if I was Seth Rollins, I would have crumpled it up and told him, get the fuck out of here. This is bullshit. But, he went ahead, he did a nice little gag on Jon Stewart, but stating you're better than Michael Jordan, that was just retarded. I didn't even get the logic behind any of that. But it don't really matter or make a difference to me at this point. It already happened, it's gone, it's done. So, Roman Reigns comes out, he stutters on his words, what he was trying to say, and he basically, was, saying, okay, you're Money in the Bank, but I won the Royal Rumble, and I'm facing the best guy in the company right now who's holding the WWE World Heavyweight Championship and going to the main event of WrestleMania 31. And what are you doing? Floating around doing nothing, have nothing planned for WrestleMania 31. You have no challenger, no nothing. That's pretty, that's kind of like downgrading your heel character there. that was pretty bad. But, granted, he does have the briefcase and everything. I hope for, whatever's sake, that they go with Roman Reigns losing the title to Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 31. I think that would be the most fantastic possible thing you could do at this late date. Seth Rollins has a decent match. If he loses to Randy Orton, who gives a shit? He loses to Randy Orton. I would have Randy Orton beat him and have Seth Rollins beat Roman Reigns. At the end of the day, they did that with Chris Jericho in 2008, Unforgiven. He got his ass kicked by Shawn Michaels, substituted for CM Punk for the World Heavyweight title, and won the match and walked out champion. This would be no different and just as good and even more meaningful because of the fact that he's a new guy in the company becoming a main eventer. I think that would be perfect for him. And it would be perfect for Roman Reigns. Granted, he would have a WrestleMania moment for a second, and then it would be, demolished by Seth Rollins. And I think that's what they should do. He did not earn this spot. Out of the two, between Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins has earned his main event spot more than Roman Reigns has. The only other face that has earned his spot as a main eventer has been Daniel Bryan, and right now he's going for a mid-card championship belt, and more certain that that's what's going to happen. So, whatever it is what it is at this point. It is what it is, okay? So, the whole thing is really stacked up to be one big giant pile of shit. That's really what it is. The only thing that could be redeeming, in my opinion, is Seth Rollins walks out the man. Roman Reigns busts his ass, does really good. He wins. Seth Rollins comes in, picks up the spoils, the leftovers, and wins the match. And wins the World Heavyweight title. Walks out WWE World Heavyweight Champion. And, hell, have Paul Heyman be his manager. Perfect setup. Brock Lesnar, I know for a fact, is not re-signing with WWE. After all the news and all the news that's going on in the backstage in wrestling right now, Brock Lesnar, I don't believe Brock Lesnar will sign with Vince McMahon's company at all at this point. He will venture out somewhere else. There is no doubt in my mind that's what's going to happen at this point for him. So, I wouldn't be surprised that Brock Lesnar loses this title. To whoever, I don't really give a shit. It don't matter who wins the title from him. Okay, so the third, the next, excuse me, I don't even know what I'm talking about here at this point. I'm so, burnt out from talking about this shit, it's ridiculous. But anyway, so we move into another big promo that I found interesting, John Cena. Alright, John Cena is talking about how, okay, at this point I can't get Rusev to say yes to a rematch between me and him for WrestleMania for the United States title again. Okay, I get it. He's scared, he don't want to face me again, he don't think lightning can strike twice and him beating me, fine. I'll go to the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Really? Okay, I think that's even downgrading John Cena as it is at this point, but I don't think fans could give a shit less whether or not he does or he doesn't. Really, the reason why for that answer is simple. Because when Stephanie came out and said, no, we don't want you in the Battle Royal for the Andre the Giant Memorial event, we don't want you, period. We don't need you. And people could give a shit less if you were at WrestleMania 31. And she asked the fans, would you care if he was there? And, would you guys like that he wasn't part of the WrestleMania 31? And they chanted yes, yes, doing a Daniel Bryan chant. Very few people were saying no to it. That him not being there would be horrible. So, I mean, a lot of people were saying yes, it'd be great that he wouldn't be there. So I was a bit surprised by that. I mean, granted, I I'm a John Cena fan. I know, he's one of the most hated guys because of, like, the fact that he's not a great wrestler and he's been given this main event spot for a very, very long time. 15 world championships, 3 U.S. title reigns, and a couple world tag team title reigns, okay? So I totally understand. Maybe people are just at this point, they're, getting tired of John Cena in the main event or even in the WrestleMania pay-per-view. They're just sick of it. And they've gotten over with, they're just tired of John Cena, and that's really what it is. But whether it is or it isn't, I mean, having John Cena not part of WrestleMania, I think, is really stupid. I mean, he is the Hulk Hogan of this generation. And whether you like it or not, that's what it is. And for people to boo John Cena, I think is disgusting because they cheer for Hulk Hogan, and Hulk Hogan is no different than John Cena. They are looked at in the same realm as one another. They both share the same ideologies about characteristics, such as eat your vitamins, say your prayers, all that good stuff. John Cena's no different, and they're just the common superhero character in wrestling. I don't care for that stuff. I don't care about. I love John Cena's work ethic. I love his characteristics. I think they're cool. They're a way, it's a great way to preach to kids. I think he's very good for kids. That's why I think he should be the number one dude in wrestling. Okay? But, it's coming to that point where he really needs to, find something else to do. Mid-card wrestling, I think, would be good for him right now. Give the opportunity to the younger stars to get to a main event level. Maybe bring them back to the main event level again and have them wrestle with the younger guys that have been established as a main event type group. And have him go through them, but him not actually beating them on a consistent basis. Let the wins and losses go back and forth where it's not so predictable. Okay? But it is coming to a point where John Cena's probably more than likely in the next few years is going to have to retire. So there's no doubt about that. The next thing that was talked about of promos that I remember off the top of my head was the Jon Stewart and Seth Rollins promo. Seth Rollins again had a very, very boring, dull fucking promo until Jon Stewart came out. Jon Stewart talked some real shit. I mean, yeah, it was storyline based, all that stuff. I mean, what did he do? What has he done in his career? He's with a group of goons that are helping him become something. He cheated to win the Money in the Bank ladder match. In reality, it should have been Dean Ambrose who should have been the winner of that thing. And not even going after the Intercontinental title. Should have been going after the World Heavyweight title. And he's just done every dirty tactic, is what Jon Stewart said. And he didn't deserve any of the accolades he's even gotten so far in his career. And in reality, based off of the storyline that they've done with Seth Rollins, no, he doesn't. If you want to base it directly off of storylines, no. Wrestling capabilities, all that stuff, yes. Based on all those different things about Seth Rollins, yes, he definitely deserved it. Based off of the storylines that they've done with him, of course you're going to say no because he cheated. But, people don't care about that anymore. They're more into the storylines. They're more into the wrestling capabilities. Your promos and things of that sort that you do on the screen. And Seth Rollins had that and has developed that. Just last Monday night, he was not that good. I really thought he was just boring. Really, I didn't think he was bad. He just was boring. And Jon Stewart goes ahead, and he's, talking some more and making some really funny jokes like he does on the Daily Show. So I really like that he was bringing out some of what he does on the Daily Show on the actual Raw event. So I was really funny. I enjoyed it. If it wasn't for Jon Stewart, that whole promo would have been garbage. I really didn't like it, to be honest. The best promo out of all of it was, and I mean was, Paul Heyman. He came out and he spilled a bunch of shit about what's going on behind the scenes. He is like, Brock Lesnar can go there, anywhere he wants, anywhere he damn well pleases. It don't freaking matter, because at the end of the day, Brock Lesnar is going to beat Roman Reigns, and Brock Lesnar could beat Daniel Bryan if it would have been him too. It doesn't matter who he's gonna face, he's gonna kick their ass. And a lot of other things he said, but I can't remember them word for word. If you haven't seen the episode, check that one segment out. It's like near in the last hour. It was an outstanding promo and great way to tie in all information that's gone on behind the scenes in a storyline. I thought it was awesome. So that was pretty much the last big promo that I've, remember off the top of my head and actually could care to talk about. I know this video has been pretty long. I'm pretty sure it's been like 30, 40 minutes maybe. So let me just real quick tell you my opinion about this build-up with WrestleMania 31. Reality of this whole thing is this. It doesn't feel like WrestleMania. It feels like a very dull lead-up to a regular pay-per-view. I mean, right now we could just say we're going to fucking Battleground, okay? That's how freaking dull this really is. I mean, this whole thing has no major build-up. You got Randy Orton and Seth Rollins. They should have been pulling a trigger on this last week when Randy Orton had his first, stunt back in WWE TV. Another thing I forgot to mention, there was a promo done by The Miz going ahead and doing something like Viagra. It was called Niagara, copying off of like erection pills and stuff. It was downright hilarious. I thought it was very funny. And Damian Sandow just stood there, took the punishment, got slapped in the face by The Miz, and said, if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't be doing nothing in this company, and you used to be something, and now you're nothing. And if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't even be working here. And instead of standing up for himself and fighting back, which would have made a decent, maybe an opener to WrestleMania 31 or even the pre-show match, it would have been a decent build-up, and instead they didn't do that. Everything they're doing when they have an opportunity to do something for a match for WrestleMania to make it have better build-up, they make it go flat. They don't do anything to help the match be meaningful. It just feels like a regular match. WrestleMania 31 is the biggest... WrestleMania is the biggest pay-per-view. It should have the best build-up. Randy Orton, Seth Rollins is a great build-up. You had Seth Rollins, a young stud, wants to be the best in the world and the world heavyweight champion. And he wants to be the number one guy in the company. He knocks Randy Orton out. Great idea for him to build him up strong. Bring Randy Orton back. You make him go, okay, I might reconsider. And then you fucking make him just destroy Seth Rollins and set them up in a tag team and then destroy him afterwards. That's what you do. You don't do this shit. This is 2 weeks in a row. 2 weeks in a row. This match doesn't even have any real good build-up. It's mediocre. It's okay. But it's not WrestleMania quality build-up. That's the bottom line to this. John Cena, Rusev, same thing. I want a match. No. I want a match. No. So what the fuck? If they're not going to have the match, they're going to do 2 weeks in a row saying, no, you don't deserve a rematch. Then who cares at that point? What should have been done is John Cena should have been they should have been having John Cena put him in a situation where he needed to say yes. Not just have a match, beat the shit out of someone, and then have Rusev say yes. That's not going to make him say yes. You don't want to face him. He's the heel. The heel got away with the victory, squealed away, and walked away victorious. In good fashion, may I add. Kicked him in the groin. He's unconscious. He's submitted. He's done. He didn't answer anything. He was just done. His whole body was limped. Okay? So, that's the shit right there that just makes the whole build-up crappy. Last year, John Cena's match with Bray Wyatt, oh man, that was excellent. It was absolutely excellent. Great build-up. Good reasons behind to build up between John Cena and Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt should have won that match. They should not have had John Cena win that match. It should have continued with John Cena facing Bray Wyatt in a series of matches, which they still did, but the wrong guy won at WrestleMania 30. This year, you got the same situation. You had these two face each other at, Fastlane. It was a decent, okay match. It was a 4-star. I gave it 4 stars. And it wasn't bad. But, Rusev won, and of course that's what they should have gone with. But what are they going to do? Make Rusev win twice in a row against Johnson? I don't see that happening. I'm just sorry. And there's a lot of people I know wouldn't disagree with me on this. So, I mean, and John Cena is holding the U.S. title. No, I don't mind the idea, but I don't think too many other people have the same, agreement with me on this whole situation. Okay, so that's just my opinion, but I know a lot of other majority's opinion is no, shouldn't put the U.S. title on Rusev or John Cena at all. I don't know, maybe it is a bad idea, but I don't really give a shit. These titles are meaningless anyway, so who gives a fuck who holds what belt? Excuse me. We have, and there's other things. The whole build-up for the Intercontinental title, that's ridiculous. I mean, the title is being looked at as meaningless and having no reason or worthiness in the company anymore, jumping around from one person to the next. Reality of this whole thing is simple. There is no build-up. That's the problem with WrestleMania 31. Bray Wyatt and The Undertaker, I have to say, is pretty okay. And Triple H and Sting is probably the best build-up right now. Those two are the best WrestleMania build-ups they got going right now for this company. But Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar feel like a regular world title match. That's all it feels like. It doesn't feel anything but that, a regular world title match. Eddie Guerrero and Brock Lesnar at 2004 at No Way Out had a better build-up. It could have been used at WrestleMania than this fucking build-up. It sucks. And that's all there is to it. This is by far the fucking worst episode since my channel has started that I have done a review on. It is shit. It was boring and completely dull. That's all I have to say on the subject. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you had a good, enjoyed the time watching this video. I know it was long. I do apologize if it was too long for my viewers at this point. But I hope you enjoyed my opinions and my idea on the company right now, with what they were doing on Monday Night Raw. Hit that subscribe button, and thank you very much for watching, and have a great day, guys. Bye.